Hey, so you know me, I'm not a head loss guy. Never usually have been, and I'm trying my best not to lose my head with this, but it's painful, absolutely painful. There's a part of me who wants to scream, "We're shit, we're fucking shit, we'll never be good again. Everyone else plays is crap, disgrace, blah 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 blah." There's also another part of me pulling away, going, "This part of this was going to be predictable. It's going to happen." And I know what people want to see. They want to see this side. I don't tend to do that side. I tend to I try and look at it another way. I feel like crap myself anyway. The performance is as shit as I feel. I'm trying to approach this objectively and trying to approach it, with balance and try and look at the bigger picture. It's just hard because emotionally, the biggest worry for me is right now is the quality issues in terms of the mentality. I think there's quality there with the players. I think there's a lot of talent there. There's too many parts that have changed, and I'm scared of that. I can't deny I'm scared of that because I think there's an awful lot of lack of consistency with City side, and rebuilds are difficult for a reason. I think I'm worried that there's been too many pieces that have changed, and when you look around in that second half, people looking around at each other, and there's not a lot of leaders in that team because there's a lot of new faces, and that's what I'm worried about. It could be that when, Rodri's found his rhythm and some of these players have adapted to the side and Vardiol's back and hopefully Foden, gets back into the side near his best form somehow. It could be that, the team starts to find a bit of rhythm. There's no guarantee of that. And that was a painful loss. It absolutely was. It is difficult to take. And people are going to... I know, already can imagine the comments. People get annoyed when someone just tries to say something that isn't intensely negative. I did enjoy the first 55 minutes. I did. And I don't... Someone already saying there's no bigger picture, Stephen. No, there has to be a picture. It might not be a bigger one, but there has to be a picture. If you want to just sit here and say everything is shit, everything is crap, everything is terrible, everything is awful, everyone should be sacked, everything is terrible, then go for it. I don't know what it accomplishes other than just venting, and I think this is the time for talking shit. I get that. But it's annoying because I felt for 55 minutes we were actually good. And then we lose our heads. And we did lose our heads. We did. We did lose our heads and we couldn't keep the ball. And as soon as Brighton made the changes in the second half, after that, we lost our heads. And that's the thing for me. Brian said it's not about tactics, it's about leaders in the chat. The thing for me is that's what it felt like. I look around that side and there was a lack of killers there. The one thing I've noticed over the past year, it feels to me like if we go behind or whatever, I don't think we're going to score late goals because I don't think we have world-class players, a lot of them at the moment, a couple maybe. And I think some of these players could be in time world-class players, but they're not there yet. That's what's bugging me. I don't think we can put 90 minutes together right now. I don't think we're capable of doing it. And I don't think a lot of these players are at the point, when I look around the team, I go through the changing parts. Trafford, it was good by the way, but the parts that have changed over the past year. Nunez is a changing part. Kusanov, Nori, Reinders, Marmouche, Oscar Bobb's a changing part. Nico Gonzalez when he's played, Nico O'Reilly's a changing part. There's several players in this team that are relatively new to this lineup, and regardless of where you feel of them, of the quality of those players, the fact of the matter is they're looking around, learning this league, and they're looking around for Pete Gundogan, Pete De Bruyne. Previously, a player came into the City side and they were surrounded by top class players who would hold their hand, and you'd just find your way in this City side and you'd be fine. The problem is now there's too many new players, and it's really difficult. It's difficult. It's not formation entirely. I'm sorry, but it isn't. This is entirely down to a consistency, leadership, fitness thing, and some of these players are a lot more potential based. And I think a lot of these players are potential based. And I think the problem is, I do believe personally this City side will get better, but I think it's going to take time. And that's the issue I've got. I'm worried about that because I think it's going to be a very long season. And I think some of these players, I think Kusov's going to be cracking. I thought Trafford was good today, by the way. I thought Trafford was really good. I thought Kusov was good until his injury. And we might get better. Cassius in the chat and say we might get better towards the end of the season. We might do. And we might go on a winning streak. But I think until we find a rhythm and these players adapt to this league, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, man. Like, I look around and I see a lot of players with potential, but it's that. Like, I think Oscar Bob is going to be a cracking player, but he's 22 years old. He's not played an awful lot of football, and in the second half, he looked lost out there. I can admit that. While being the first half being really good, Oscar Bob is a great example of a player who I think could be really good, but at the moment looks like a young lad, trying to find his footing in the team, and it looked poor in the second half as the team lost its way. And I look at, Rodri. Okay, Rodri's great. But then I look at Bernardo past his peak. And Reinders, the league's caught up to him. Who would you bring on for Bob? Well, that's the point. There was no one to bring on. There was no one. There was no one there. And you could say we need to change the tactics, whatever, the manager maybe. Look, I don't know if that's true yet. I don't know. But what I do know is the players that he's been given aren't as good as the players he had at his very best. That's a fact. Like, does anyone think this collection of players is as good as the treble-winning players? Does anyone think this collection of players is all full of world-class right now? And the point I'm making there is Guardiola doesn't sign these players, by the way. The point I'm making is these are potential. And this is a rebuild job, unfortunately. And that's the point I'm making. That's not a Guardiola criticism either. These players just aren't as good as the level we've been used to. And the point is I'm saying is it's going to take a while. Like, if we can all say these players aren't as good, why do we expect Pep to have them as good as those players, if that makes sense? It's just difficult. And I'm stuck between trying to find balance in amongst the storm here. It's annoying because we did slack off in the second half. But until Nunes just goes, Nunes, what you doing? What you doing? Stop it. Nunes, I want to like Nunes, but I've said it. I've been saying it for 2 years. Nunes is not a fully serious footballer. He's got talent, but he's not a fully serious footballer. He does silly things, and he's got a lot of talent. He does silly things. He does. He can't help it. And I know it was going to hit him in the face, and I know the ball was skied, but I'm not blaming Nunes. He's not entirely the fault. He isn't. We should have another right back. But he does silly things. And the point is, where he always has done, but silly teams that aren't there do silly things. And unfortunately, until that moment, we were reasonably in control. And then, and I'm not blaming entirely Nunes. I think the team, I'm not I'm getting annoyed with me blaming Nunes, but the mistake is there, and we know he's prone to these, and I think he's a good fullback. He's a decent fullback, but he's not a reliable fullback. He's not a reliable fullback. Rico Lewis is not a reliable fullback either. So there's a quality issue there, and there is. We have to replace that. We have to have a world-class right back, or one who can be world-class. None of these players. One thing I will say is I don't mind players playing who are potential if you think they could become world-class. But I don't think anyone thinks Rico Lewis or Nunes could be world-class. So that's a net negative there. I don't mind young players with potential if you think they can make the top level. I don't think he can. And I don't think a couple of these players can in the team right now either. That's why I'm worried about that. Look, Kusanov is cracking. I haven't insulted Nunes. Have I insulted Nunes? I just said he does silly things, which he does. That's not like, oh, come on, man. This is not a Nunes thing. But I'm saying he's sort of like, yeah. And then after that, after that, the team loses its shape entirely. We can't keep the ball. It becomes a shambles. I'll go to the goal, the second goal. I mean, I want to watch it back again. But this is where the second goal ends here. I mean, look at this, how what leads to the second goal. What is going on here? It's an absolute shambles. Look at that line there. Jesus Christ. Everyone's blaming Diaz for this, by the way. I'm not saying Diaz was perfect. Maybe you should take the man out here, but Stones and Nunez what's going on with Stones and Rico there? Like, this is just shambles. Stones gives it straight to fucking Brighton. The defensive line is all over the place. Rico's inverting there, and I mean, what is going on? There's 3 players up there, central, closer to Diaz than any of our other centre-back. It's an absolute shambles of a defensive line, and we've lost our head there. It's unorganised, it's a mess. Everyone's blaming Diaz for that, by the way, but Diaz is, everyone's going, oh, it's an offside trap. It's not an offside trap. That was not a set line trying to make an offside trap. Diaz has no choice but to drop a bit deeper there, by the way, because he's got 3 players who run at him. He has to drop a bit deep, but the whole thing is a mess there. And Kusa not playing might have made a difference there. But it can't be one guy who's really fast and hope for the best against 3 fucking attackers. We've lost our heads there at that point. 88 minute in, the team has lost their heads. And that is the main issue. Rarely is a Guardiola side badly organised. Guardiola trains them to perfection. But this side, unfortunately, has lost their composure. They are nervous and they are anxious. And that's the thing that worries me. Peak Manchester City are not nervous. Peak City with Gundogan, David Silva, De Bruyne, these great players, they're not nervous because they believe they're better. I don't think, and this is what scares me, a lot of these players believe they're better because I think they know they're probably not. I think some of these could be, their potential, but there's too many that aren't there yet. And they're following, it absolutely is nerves. When you've got the players, when you've got players who can keep the ball really well, but the second the tide turns, they start giving it away. That's nerves, that's anxiety, and that is inexperience or lack of quality or lack of leadership, whatever you want to put it. But these players, I don't think these players are lazy. I don't think they are. I don't think any of these players are lazy, but I think they've lost their heads a little bit, and to me that is concerning. And I think we were playing well until the 60th minute. I keep saying that, by the way, and I think it's true. I think it is worth reminding people that, like fucking Spurs as well in the first half, we were actually all right. There's the first half stats for you, by the way. The first half was actually a masterclass of an away performance. Maybe we should have scored again, but there's the first half stats for you. 0 chances, big chances for Brighton. We probably could have scored a couple of goals in that half. I think that would have been fair. Should have been 2-0 maybe. Total shot 7. Haaland header off the line. Haaland through on goal, scuffed a shot. A couple of other decent moments as well. And we were doing well. We were keeping the ball nicely in that first half. But we just can't keep it going. We can't keep it going. And why is that, We lost our momentum when Brighton made the changes. The Brighton brought on... they brought on Gruda, Rutter, Ayari, Milner. And they outran us at that point. They outran us. Now, what is that? Is that a quality issue? Is it a fitness issue? Is it a pre-season issue? Probably all of them. It probably is an element of fitness, quality, confidence, experience, a lack of. And this is why Guardiola likes to lean on experience. Super chats. Thank you so much for the super chats. I've missed a few. Where have they gone? Curtis said, if Pep can't do it with these caliber players, then he's a fraud. These aren't championship players. He needs to get his ideas right or he's gone. How good do you think some of these players are, mate? I would argue some of these players aren't quite as good as you think they are. I think a lot of these are... I don't think a lot of these are... Look, these should be better, I agree. I think the first half shows what they could be, but I think the second half shows what they are not yet. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of them have potential, unfortunately. That's the thing. James Trafford was at Burnley last season. Good, though. Aitno was at Wolves last season. Kusanov was, I didn't even hear of him last season, where was he, a random French side? It was Uzbekistan lad. Stones was injured all last season. Nunez wasn't even a right back at the start of last season. Rodri was injured all that. Okay, Rodri, fine. Reinders was in Italy last season, still adapting to the league. Bernardo is a guy everyone wanted gone last season, and still probably does. Oscar Bob was injured all last season, he's still young. Marmoush adapted to the league to an extent. I think we have to be realistic about where these players are in their development. Barely any of these are established top-class, world-class players. They could get there in time, but a lot of these have got a lot to prove, mate. Cool Wow says United, Arsenal, Napoli, 3 season defining games. Feels like chaos surrounding the team, injuries, transfers to unsettled players. Yeah, it does. And look, we come out of that negative, then the season will feel like it's over before we got there. You're not wrong, mate. I hope, my big hope is... Fuck knows with the right back issue. I'm worried about that. I can't pretend I'm not worried about it. My hope is that Rodri keeps finding his form because he was good in the first half. I hope, we get Vardiol back in the side. He feels like a City side again. I hope we get, Foden, Shirky, them finding some forms. Maybe Savina comes back into the side and we look a bit more... I don't know. Yeah, he's not going to score goals, is he? I don't know, mate. You're right. Yeah, you're right, cool, wow. Another super chat. Sap says, we need Edison to stay. If we don't have someone who's calm on the ball at the back, we need either Foden or Shirky on the pitch always. I thought Trafford did well today, by the way. A few massive saves. I don't think actually Edison saves for what it's worth. So I don't think Edison would have made the difference today. I think actually it was really, I would say, I think it was away from Trafford where we lost the heads on the ball today. Far too many players in the 80th percentage in terms of keeping the ball. Thanks for the super chats, by the way, but I'm going to click on the players. Rodri down at 88%. Rodri's normally 94% pass accuracy. Reinders struggled today. Reinders 88%. No, it's not too bad, too fair. Bernardo came off. Nico O'Reilly came on but struggled, 84%. Nico O'Reilly, I thought, couldn't keep up with the pace of the game when he came on, unfortunately. Doku had nothing. He kept the ball fine, Nico O'Reilly, but yeah, I think we lost control of the game, and it's very hard to imagine. It's hard because I don't know what the solution is. I think we're undercooked, and I think some of these players have got a lot of adapting to do, and I don't think we can do a great 90 minutes right now, and I don't know a way around that. We do have issues, Reinders in another life gets a lot of time to adapt behind Gundogan. So when Rodri joined, we had Fernandinho. I think David Silva was still there, wasn't he? De Bruyne, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva could all play central midfield. And if Rodri didn't play well, you'd put him on the bench. What's the Rodri quote? Let's have a look. Let me find the Rodri quote. Let's have a look. But now it's just like Reinders has got to adapt on the fly. There we go. I told you. Yeah, some of the mistakes we're doing with kids' mistakes, you're not concentrating and paying attention. Yeah, it's nerves. They are kids, some of these players, in terms of experience. This is the thing. Some of these, in terms of true top-level experience, are basically kids. I mean, is that fair? I mean, is that a fair tweet to send? The problem with the rebuild is you changed too many. Like, you wanted Reinders to be easing in alongside a younger Gundogan, Rodri, and De Bruyne 2 years ago. That level. In terms of its experience, SDL, they are, mate. Some of these are. They may become, great players. I'll write that out. Very much at the start. And it's so obvious, isn't it? But so many, It's really obvious, isn't it, unfortunately? And that's the thing, is like, it could be with time. We can put a 55-minute performance into a 65-minute performance, and a 70-minute performance, and then a 75-minute performance, and then a 90-minute performance. I'm hopeful of that. I actually expect that. But I think it's going to take time. And so Michael Andreas in the chat saying, faithless bums, fuck all of you. Look, I am not faithless at all, mate. But I just feel it's going to take time. And a lot of people want Pep out for that. And I don't feel that way. I just feel Guardiola probably knows that this is one for patience, and I don't think a lot of us got it. So by the way, so that their goal comes from a goal kick. It's so frustrating. To go straight from a goal kick, Stones gets sucked in. Like, Rico is pushed forward. Stones gives it away to Brighton. And after that, we're absolutely all over the place. It's far too easy. Oh, man, this is going to be difficult. And here we go. So Rodri's come out and been brutal here. Rodri said, the reality is we have to raise the level if we want to compete. I don't feel my title of my video now is real quality issues is unfair. He said, we're missing the level. I don't know, call it what you want. It's a matter of the team changes. New players have to adapt. When we change that much, it's difficult. This is our reality. It's not excuses. We have to look at ourselves and see this is not the way to achieve things. He's bang on. He's absolutely bang on. He's bang on. It's a quality now issue. I think that's it. It really is. This is not going to be an easy fix. It might hurt. It might hurt. I truly believe that. And that's the thing is, like, I think he's absolutely bang on, Rodri. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know other managers would do better with what, but maybe they would do. As I said, I think I said during the watch along is like Pep sides are so finely tuned that they take an awful long time to become a machine. And it can be a little bit slower. This is why Guardiola sides tend to be better in, February, March, April, May, because he really fine-tunes them. Some people can get a tune out of side quicker, maybe, more aggressively, but I don't think they ever usually reach the top level that Guardiola sides do. And this is the thing right now. Guardiola's trying to do this with a collection of new players, and it could be. I look at Joel there in the chat, by the way, saying Reiner's a waste of money. I go, come on, man, it's 3 games. It's very obvious to me that he had such a good first game that everyone's now paying attention to him. And as a result of that, they are, he's struggling with that increased attention, and he'll have to up the pace again. And it will come, but it's just going to take time. Like, this is the thing is, like, he's got nowhere to hide right now. That's the thing, he's having to learn on the fly. I think we all know at this point, like City included, that we made a mistake starting the rebuild too late, and this is the price of it. I've never said otherwise, Mad Hatter. I've never said otherwise. Like I've been saying that for ages. I feel like we were lying in the bed that we've made. We made this bed. I've said that massively. And Guardiola came out last season and said, problem is, he resisted a rebuild, and now we're having to do it all at the same time. Usually when you integrate players, I was saying during the watch along, We needed fucking the signings of Núñez and Phillips, which are £50 million signings for the midfield at the time. They needed to fucking bang, but they didn't. Doku needed to bang, but he hasn't. Like, I don't care how you feel about Doku, but no one would argue Doku's been a 10 out of 10 signing. No one would argue, or even an 8 out of 9 out of 10 signing. No one would argue for the same for Phillips or Núñez. So that's 150 million pounds of signings there that just didn't land, where previously we're making 50-60 million pound signings that did land, and that set us back so much because it's been wasted, and that's the thing, it's been wasted, and that's the annoying thing about it. Like, we've had too many misses, and as a result of that, there's some talent amongst those players, but they're not straight into the first 11 talent. There's too many question marks around them. I can't. Yeah, I'm just gonna get rid of some trolls in there. And it's one of those things. Look, come on, Sam. I'm not. Doku, I think, is a good player, but do you truly think Doku's world class? Doku doesn't even think he's world class. No one, like, Doku's mum doesn't think he's world class. I guarantee no one thinks Doku's world class. A great world class dribbler, but I like Doku, but no one thinks he's world class. Like, look. It's one of those things where, like, if anyone truly thinks, like, it's the point is the fact that this argument around Doku exists. No one argues over Vardiel for a reason, right? You know, no one argues over Vardiel. Why? Because he was obviously a success as a signing. There's barely any argument over Marmoush, you know, because people think Marmoush is obviously a good player. So, Brian's had a super chat. Have you, mate? Sorry, was I looking away, Brian? Brian, I can't. Oh, yeah. Brian with a super chat. Sorry, mate, missed it. Brian said, "This is not a title side yet. Second or third, maybe." Look, yeah. That at this point, second or third looks great, Brian. You're not wrong, mate. I don't know where we'll be at the end of the season. I do expect, and I'm not just saying this, I think the City side will go on a run. I think they'll get better, but it's going to take a long time. It isn't a title side right now. Liverpool and Arsenal are better than us, clearly. I don't think there's much around the Premier League that we can't match eventually. And I think, you know, with time we'll fix it to an extent. But I think you're right, mate. But that's the thing once again. Going back to the signings, we know why this happened. And look, the explaining doesn't really need to happen anymore. Like, we can talk about it again if you want to, but we know what happened. We made a mistake. We didn't rebuild after the treble. And as a result, if you look at the treble side, several of them peaked that year, you know. And then after that, it's just been downhill. That's when we needed that's where we needed a João Neves to come in for Gundogan. And that would have been a certified banger. That's when we needed... I'm trying to think who else we could have signed at that point, you know, midfield. But that's the kind of call we needed. We needed a João Neves successful level signing. That's when we needed an Oliseh to sign and be the goal scoring winger that we wanted to. That's when a Bellingham, Declan Rice had come in. Declan Rice is still better. I'm not sure we mock it, but they were within the levels. They are the signings that we needed to make. Kvaratskhelia, yeah, exactly. Enzo McAllister, yeah, exactly. But I'm not even criticising every player, but we've missed Enzo Fernandez is not good enough, sorry. But McAllister would have been perfect then. Bruno Guimaraes would have been great back then as well. I actually agree. Bruno Guimaraes at this point would have been... I think Bruno Guimaraes would have been a cracking signing back then. Barcola was a kid back then, mate. But that is when we probably should have signed those players. But we took too long, unfortunately, and some of them moved on. And we signed fucking Núñez and Calvin Phillips and blah, 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 blah. Kovacic, decent play, Kovacic, but we got it wrong. Paqueta's not good enough, man. He's not good enough, let's be honest. And the problem is, after that, you look at that treble winning side, Kyle Walker, Stones, Diaz, Ake, Kanji, Edison, Gundogan, Bernardo, De Bruyne, Grealish, Mahrez was in that squad as well. How many of those players peaked that year? Most of them. None of them have kept the standard since then. Like, none of them. And that's the thing. Since then, everyone has dipped down. And we're trying to replace several within a year. Like, several players. And the issue is, it's just too much to do. Maybe we should have been more aggressive with big signings, but we've gone for project players, and it's taken time. And yeah, I don't know. I think we might have to accept a couple of low years, and this is where we're at. We've had it glorious. We've had the best 10 years of any team ever. Treble 4 years in a row, and now we've got a lot of talent, but the young talent, and we haven't got the leaders yet. And I look in that team, and there's only one world-class player. Two. You'd argue Haaland's world-class. He is, as a striker. I know people get annoyed at Haaland, but he's a world-class striker. And then Rodri. There's two. There's two world-class players in that team. And that's it. Maybe Vardiol can be world. I wouldn't even argue Vardiol is definitely world-class. Very, very good, but I wouldn't argue he's world-class. Vardiol, maybe. I don't know. I don't think he is world. I think he's close to world class, but Stones isn't world class anymore. No, he was at one point, but he can't be anymore. And we used to have. You look at the treble winning side. Ederson, a world class ball playing keeper. You know, Stones and Diaz at the time, treble were both world class centre backs. Kyle Walker was a world class right back at the time. Rodri was world class. De Bruyne was world class. Haaland was definitely world class. Bernardo was world class back then. Now, we had 5 or 6 world class players then. So there's one now. 1, 2 maybe. Vardiol's really good, by the way. He's excellent. He's quality. He's not a fucking beast, though. That's what I get worried about with Vardiol. Like, I'm a fan, AW. I'm a fan, mate. So what? I enjoyed it. I was wrong. Who cares if I was wrong, man? I've not robbed you, am I? I've not robbed you or anything making a video that you watched. Jesus Christ, mate. Like, I'm not stealing. Like, I'm not pretending to be right. I'm just like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the football of the Wolves game. It turns out I jumped the gun. So fucking what? Shoot me, man. Kusanov is not yet world class. Let's not make that mistake. He could be. He's quality, but Pep said Shirky out for 2 months. Great stuff. 2 months, Shirky. Guys, I'll leave it there. I'll catch you tomorrow for a video. It's going to be a long season. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Bye-bye.